Mitt Romney on guns at the NRA National Convention 2012. I'm William Hovey Smith, and I'm best known as the author of Backyard Deer Hunting, but here you see me as a broadcaster.
This is Hovey's Outdoor Adventures, and I am at the NRA National Show in St. Louis. This is the 141st such event. Here we have people, we have gun enthusiasts, we have antique firearms, all sorts of hunting materials, clothing, knives, utility items, and a plethora of guns of all sorts that almost exceed the imagination.
Mitt Romney spoke at this event and gave an impassioned defense of the Second Amendment and of gun rights. But from what you heard on national television, you would only hear that he said the word guns once in his presentation, as if he had nothing to say. But, as you will hear, he had considerable to say.
Our next speaker's fight for the Republican presidential nomination has made his numerous accomplishments very well known. He has a strong record as an effective leader in both the business and public service worlds. In 2002, on the heels of a successful business career, he was elected governor of Massachusetts. And in that same year, he stepped up to save the Winter Olympics from financial collapse. He has referred to this election as a defining moment for our generation and the conservative movement. I doubt many of us here would disagree. He's a family man, he's a leader, he's a life member of the National Rifle Association. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to our friend, the governor of Massachusetts, Mitt Romney.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for your generous welcome. And what a job Wayne LaPierre just did. What an extraordinary man. I owe him a great debt of gratitude, and also to David Keene, who's been a friend and a supporter for a long time. And thank you to Chris Cox for that wonderful introduction. There's one more person I would like to introduce. This is a hero of mine. I happen to believe that all moms are working moms. And if you have 5 sons, why, your work is never over. My sweetheart, Ann Romney. Yeah. Say something. You're welcome.
Wow, this is fabulous. Let me give a shout out to all moms that are working. And, by the way, to all dads that are working. We love all of you. We recognize that we are heading in a direction that is perilous. We're also, and this is what I love the most, women are talking about the economy and jobs and about the legacy of debt that we're going to leave our children, and we are mad about it, and we're going to do something about it in November. With your help, we need to make sure that we keep this country strong and fighting for the right reasons. So thank you all very much. We'll hear from Mitt.
You bet. Thank you, sweetheart. And it is great to be with so many friends here today from the National Rifle Association. This organization is sometimes called a single-issue group. And that is high praise when the single issue you're fighting for is freedom. And you can be proud of your long and unwavering defense of constitutional rights and liberties. Now, in about 207 days, we're going to do something that's really quite amazing. Americans will be choosing not only a president, but an entire House of Representatives and a third of the U.S. Senate. The entire world will be watching us. And by around midnight on November 6th, maybe a little earlier, a little later, we'll know the results of millions of Americans exercising their right to vote. In doing so, Americans will be making a profound choice, a decision which is much more important than just one person or one party. We will not just select the president who will guide us, we will also choose between two distinct paths and destinies for the nation. So many of the big issues in the campaign turn on our understanding of the Constitution and how it was meant to guide our lives. It was one of Missouri's greatest sons, Harry Truman, who expressed a guiding conviction that you and I share in a ceremony that placed the Constitution and the Declaration in the permanent care of the National Archives. President Truman offered a word of caution. Liberty, he said, can be lost, and it will be if the time ever comes when these documents are regarded not as the supreme expression of a profound belief, but merely as curiosities in a glass case. Truman believed, as we do, that the principles of the Constitution are enduring and universal, that they were designed not to bend to the will of presidents and justices who come and go. The belief that we are all created equal, that we're endowed by our Creator with our unalienable rights. These are not relics of another time. They reflect truths that are valid in every era. And the framework of law created by the Declaration and the Constitution is the source of American greatness. It has generated unparalleled opportunity and prosperity. Our founders understood this, which is why they created a system of government that's limited. President Obama is moving us away from our founders' vision. Instead of limited government, he's leading us toward limited freedom and limited opportunity. This November, we face a defining decision. I'm offering a real choice, a new beginning. I'm running for president because I have the experience and the vision to lead us in a very different direction. We know what Barack Obama's vision of America is. We've lived it this last 3.5 years. Mine is very different. My course restores and protects our freedoms. As president, the Constitution would be my guide. The Declaration of Independence would be my compass. Now today I want to talk about this administration's assault on our freedoms. First, our economic freedom, then our religious freedom, and then our personal freedoms. This administration's attack on freedom extends even to rights explicitly guaranteed by the Constitution. The right to bear arms is so plainly stated, so unambiguous, that liberals have a hard time challenging it directly. Instead, they've been employing every imaginable ruse and ploy to restrict it and to defeat it. I applaud true conservationists like Rob Keck, who work to preserve lands and herds and flocks for hunting. I applaud Ambassador Bolton for opposing international efforts to erode our rights. I applaud Congressman Issa and Senator Grassley for their work in exposing the Fast and Furious scandal. And of course, I applaud the NRA leadership for being among the first and most vocal in calling upon Attorney General Holder to resign or get fired. You know, we need a president who will enforce current laws, not create new ones that only serve to burden lawful gun owners. President Obama has not. I will. We need a president who will stand up for the rights of hunters and sportsmen and those who seek to protect their homes and their families. President Obama has not. I will. And if we're going to safeguard our Second Amendment, it's time to elect a president who will defend the rights President Obama ignores or minimizes. And I will protect the Second Amendment rights of American people. You know, we've all seen enough of President Obama over the last 3 years to know that we don't want another 4. In a second term, he'd be unrestrained by the demands of re-election, as he told the Russian president last month when he thought no one was listening. After a re-election, he'd have a lot more, quote, flexibility to do just what he wants. Not exactly sure what he meant by that, but looking at his first 3 years, I got a pretty good idea. I mean, just consider the courts, for instance. He has an unusual view of the Supreme Court and its responsibilities, as he reminded us just the other day. He said, "I'm confident that the Supreme Court will not take what would be an unprecedented, extraordinary step of overturning a law that was passed by a strong majority of a democratically elected Congress." Of course, what President Obama calls extraordinary and unprecedented, the rest of us recognize as judicial review. That concept has been the centerpiece of our constitutional system for hundreds of years. Judicial review requires that the Supreme Court strike down any law that violates the Constitution. And that's the founding document of our freedoms. That's what they got to do. But President Obama seems to believe that court decisions are only legitimate when they rule in his favor. And they're illegitimate if they don't. He thinks our nation's highest court is to be revered and respected as long as it remains faithful to the original intent of Barack Obama. That's the problem with people who view the Constitution as living and evolving, not timeless and defining. They never want to explain just who it is that's going to decide what the Constitution means and in what way they would have it evolve. In his first term, we've seen this president try to browbeat the Supreme Court. In his second term, he would remake it. Our freedoms would be in the hands of an Obama court, not just for 4 years, but for the next 40. And we must not let that happen. As president, I'll uphold the rule of law and put America back on the path toward the founders' vision. I don't want to transform America. I want to return America to the principles that made this nation great. Our founders began with this great American experiment. They created a nation conceived in liberty and they trusted us with the duty to preserve it and to defend it. In the generations since, more than 1 million Americans have made the ultimate sacrifice. We believe in America. We believe in ourselves. Our greatest days are ahead. We are, after all, Americans. Join me in this great cause. Let's take back our nation and defend our freedoms. God bless you. God bless the United States of America. Thank you so much. Thank you.
For more information about the 141st annual meeting of the NRA in St. Louis, go to my website, www.hoviesmith.com. And there you'll find my books, videos, blogs, and my radio show, Hovie's Outdoor Adventures. There are 2 one-hour shows on the meeting. Now, these were broadcast on April the 22nd and May the 7th. And these discuss the events and also the guns shown in this video. Good hunting and good eating from the outdoors.